What's up, everybody? CHM Carnivores here. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Now today I want to talk about how to cut off dead pitchers, flowers, basically anything that you need to remove from your plant. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this. There's a lot of angst about this with new growers as to when to cut off pitchers, when to cut off dead leaves, how to do so, and what's a natural occurring dead leaf compared to like a leaf that has got some sort of fungus. I want to talk about all that and more, but before we get into that, if you please wouldn't mind help liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. If you already subscribed, thank you so much for that. And if you could do me a favor and spread the word. The ultimate goal here is to get the word out to as many people as possible about these amazing plants so that we can grow them together and grow their population. But now, without further ado, let's get into the video. When it comes to trimming off dead pitchers, dead leaves, dead flower stalks, you're going to need a cutting utensil, and I'm going to use scissors. Now, you could use prune shears, anything like that, if that you want to use, but you really want a really good sharp utensil. But that is not just it. You're also going to want either some alcohol or a lighter, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that just now. So this is where having a tripod would really come in handy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lighter, and I'm going to light the blades on these scissors. You could do this with your prune shears or anything like that. And then off camera, I'm going to open them up and then do the same. And the reason why I'm doing this is you want to make sure that you get all of the mold, fungus, anything that's on these scissors off of there so you don't spread it from plant to plant. I highly recommend that you do this in between each plant that you're cutting. That can be really laborious and cumbersome, but it's very important to ensure that you're not spreading any sort of fungus or any sort of disease to another plant. It's much easier to do that, as much work as it seems like, than it is treating a widespread fungal issue. So that brings us to the next part. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is cut off dead leaves and knowing when to cut off the dead leaf. Now, obviously, this is an extreme example of one that needs to be cut off. It is far gone. There's one back here that also needs to be cut off. And there are a couple reasons for doing this. One is it's just for the aesthetic. It looks much better when the leaf is cut off. But there's also a much more important reason for the health of the plant, and that is these plants need a lot of airflow around their base. And if you leave the dead foliage on, which I have done in the past and paid for it, you will not get all of that airflow to the plant, and what will end up happening is you will get stem rot. So very, very important. Now, what I like to do is, you can see here, there's a little bit of a nub sticking out. I like to go ahead and do that now. I've already sanitized my scissors. I used fire, but I'm going to go ahead and just snip that off, and I left a little bit of room there. The reason why I leave that room there is if you cut right up on the stem, and let's say for whatever reason, even though you disinfected your scissors or your prune shears, they had some sort of fungus on it, you have room to deal with it before it gets to the main stem. I highly, highly recommend that you do that when it comes to cutting off leaves, pitchers, flower stalks, anything you're cutting off your plant. Leave a little bit on there. It doesn't necessarily look the best. I don't think it looks all that bad, but it will save you from having to potentially cut down the whole vine if you start to get stem rot. Which I'll touch on later in the video about what to do in that case. But let's go on to the next thing. All right, so when we're talking about cutting off pitchers, I get this a lot. See this pitcher right here? I would not cut this pitcher off. You certainly can, but this pitcher is still very viable. And if you'll notice, the top of it is rotten, but the bottom of it is still green. And the reason why that is still green is because it has active fluid in there with active enzymes. And so that pitcher, for all intents and purposes, is still able to eat and provide nutrients to the plant. Now, some of these pitchers back here are clearly dead and need to be cut off. Just like we did, here's another example before I go on. See this stenophylla pitcher looks dead, but it still has a little bit there, and I'm going to keep that on there. So if I want to go ahead and fertilize my plants, I'm going to use that pitcher instead of this brand new one coming in to fertilize my plants, because it's already on its way out. It'll still provide nutrients to the plant, and it won't take away from that brand new one that's growing in. So let's see if I can find some pitchers to cut off. I think I've got some here, and then we will look at that. All right, so it's a little hard to get in here. This is way in the back of the grow tent, but these are clearly dead Thorylii by Aristolochioides pitchers. We'll be talking about this plant in just a minute as well for something else. But again, let's see if I can do this without being too shaky. You'll see right here, I'm gonna cut, let's see if I can get it in the view. I'm gonna cut right there. I didn't cut all the way back to the tip of the leaf. Now you certainly can, but I try not to. And so what that will do is that will allow me to not only ensure that there's no fungus that grows up into the leaf, it gives me plenty of room to cut back, but it helps the plant breathe. Now you want to be able to discard your trash afterwards, so you're going to want to come in here, get this stuff out of here. I'll get it off video. The reason why that, again, you don't want a bunch of dead leaf litter piling up around your plants and then causing a lack of airflow. Very important that you get that airflow in there. So let's go on to the next point. All right, so this is a tougher one for growers to do. This is that Thorillii by Aristoleucoides again, and now you see I have an active flower stalk here, and then I have a dead flower stalk here. Now I don't have it, this is a male, I don't have any active flowering females, so I'm gonna cut this flower stalk off. And the reason why I'm gonna do that is the plant will certainly continue to grow with the flowers, but it will grow significantly slower because it's putting all of its energy into growing these flowers, and cutting the flowers off will allow me to have the plant grow more vigorously in the upcoming months. Now, I can go ahead and save this pollen. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can take a piece of tin foil or parchment paper and sort of shake it a little bit and the pollen will come off. You can also use find like a fine paintbrush or tweezers. The pollen is kind of sticky, so it is a little bit difficult to work with, but what you can do is you can put it on that parchment paper, put it in your fridge for a day so it dries out, and then you can store it in a fridge up to, I don't know the viability, I think it's maybe a couple months. So let's say I have one of these plants that flowers within the next few months. I can use pollen that I collected from here as a potential to cross some pitchers, but I don't have any plants that are going to be producing any flowers anytime soon, so I'm just going to cut it off. Now, again, when you're doing this, very, very important, because this is part of the main vine. So you can see here, here's the growth point. See if I can get in there. And then here's the flower stalk. So what I'm going to do is leave about an inch and not completely destroy the plant. Let me go a little bit lower. Oh my goodness. There you go. Remember I was saying about using some sharp scissors? So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. I'm going to do that to the other dead flower stem as well. And I'm also going to clean up this little cut. You can see it's jagged there, and I don't want to leave it in a room for bacteria. I want it to be a nice clean cut. And what you want to do is cut at a 45-degree angle. And so when I have both hands free, I'll do that. So be back with you in just a moment. All right, so I showed you the three main things to look for when you're wanting to cut back growth or dead growth on your pitcher plants. Now, there's a couple key things here to remember. If you're seeing the leaf turn black or brown from the tip to the stem, that is perfectly normal. That is perfectly healthy. Nepenthes tend to be, or not tend to be, they are sort of quasi-woody plants, and so they will have a very soft tissue-like vine. They will grow, but then that base will start to turn to more of a woody vine, and they lose their leaves as they do that, and so they become almost this palm tree-looking kind of vine. That is perfectly normal. Now, if the black or the browning is coming from the base of the leaf, from the stem onwards, that too is normal, but it's something to watch a little bit more closely because it could be coming from stem rot. Which brings me to stem rot. What do you do in that case? You need to act fast when you're dealing with stem rot. Stem rot is very, very deadly to your plant, and it takes absolutely no time at all, a day or two, for it to kill your plant. You'll notice it because the stem itself will start turning very, very black, and in extreme cases will become kind of soft and mushy. Now, you can save your plant. What you can do is it's hard to do, right, as far as the mental part, is you have to cut the plant off underneath the stem rot until you get to the point where the inside of the stem is no longer black. So if you cut the part off that's black, you'll still notice that the interior core is still black, and you need to keep cutting until you see a bright green or white flesh in the middle, and that's when you know that you've gotten all the stem rot out. Now, it does set your plant back significantly, but it is better than your plant dying. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you a lot of information. There's a lot of angst out there about why are my pitchers dying? Why are leaves dying? Why am I having all these things happen? When do I cut them back? And the answer is it's pretty variable, right? As long as you can get airflow through the plant, you don't have to get every dead leaf off. However, I recommend doing so just for the health of your plants. It also keeps from harboring any bacteria, any pests that like those dead leaves and leaf litter. If you don't get to it right away, it's not going to be detrimental, but it is something you want to stay on top of. Now, dead pitchers really don't cause any much issues at all. They can harbor some bacteria, but they're far enough away from the stem that they're not really going to cause too much of an immediate risk. Again, If that pitcher is still green, even on the bottom, I recommend leaving it, and you can use that when you fertilize your plants. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed these videos. Use this time as a Zen time to come in here and just clean your plants, give them a little love, and they will come back full and strong and healthy for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful day. And as always, thank you so much for your support, and have a great day.